We are live here early in the morning, 10 in the morning here on my time, going live. Generally speaking, I'm going at noon, but guess what? My daughter is sick, and I have a doctor's appointment at 11:30. That's 2 times in a row on Thursday. I have to switch my time up. We'll figure it out. It's just difficult when you got kids and they're sick. So we're doing it right now because obviously I have to go there. So in today's show, we're going to be talking about all the Detroit Lions news and rumors. We're going to get into the latest Lions. Obviously, we're going to talk about the trade rumors with Myles Garrett. We're going to be talking about all of that. Alpha Group Marketing. He says, dang, sucks. Detroit didn't make it. I'm with you. Appreciate you in here. James Janella, what's up, my friend? Thank you for coming in here. Michael McDermott, Alpha. Appreciate everybody at this weird time just because of my kid needs to go to the doctor because she is not feeling well, and it's 11:30. So yeah, I have to do the stream at a different time because she's more important. So let's go ahead and get into, and good morning, everybody. Yeah, I'm not a morning person, as you can tell. I literally just got out of the shower because I got to take my kid in. So I'm not the morning person. That's why you don't see me a lot in the mornings. But that is okay. Okay. So let's get into, we'll do some QA for sure. As we know, Robert DeBruce, what's up? And if you're hitting me up on Facebook, a lot of people, or on Twitter, I know I've got a lot of DMs and stuff. I haven't been on there, so just hold your horses. I'm not ignoring anybody. That's just the way it is. So let's get into the latest. And obviously, Alpha, he says, appreciate you, man. I love you as well. Love the channel. Appreciate you. You have a blessed day as well. So let's get into the Myles Garrett. Everybody wants to talk about Myles Garrett, Cooper Kupp in the trade, in all the trades, and trade, all this. What's up, Taylor, Alexis, Janella? I would love to have Myles Garrett. Don't get me wrong, man. Wouldn't that be epic to put Myles Garrett opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? You would have an elite defensive line. Lee McNeil come back halfway through the next season. And if they bring back Levi, you got Joshua. Man, you would have a great defensive line. Yeah, hopefully she's feeling better too. Figure out what's going on if she needs antibiotics. But here's the thing, folks. Do you think this is going to happen? First off, it takes 2 to tango. We all know that. And the Cleveland Browns, they got to be willing to trade a player like Myles Garrett. That's one thing you have to deal with. Number 2, you have to deal with the contract. Now, Myles Garrett's contract's not bad at all. He's going to want an extension, though. So, for the next 2 years, it's great, but then you got to think about probably the next 5 years. That is something that you got to look at. And you got to think about Aiden Hutchinson contract rate coming up. And then we got Kirby Joseph. We probably want to extend him. At that point, Brian Branch. There's other contracts. So we got to be thinking about that as well. But great player, man. I would love to have him. And then the draft capital it would take to get him. And I'm sure before the NFL trade deadline, I guarantee you that Brad Holmes spoke to the Cleveland Browns about Myles Garrett. Clearly, we got Za'Darius Smith from the Cleveland Browns, and we couldn't get him then. So I don't see it happening. I don't. It's going to take a first-round pick. They say 2 firsts and a third. I think it'd be a first and a third. I don't think it's going to take 2 firsts unless it's going to be, I just don't see it happening at all. What's up, Pierre Jefferson, man? Not congratulations to Super Bowl, but you beat us. Congratulations there. And you guys you could really be the team that's going after Myles Garrett for sure. I would be happy with Khalil Mack as well. I actually did a video on that, and it makes sense. When you look at Myles Garrett, I would love to have him, but I could see a situation where the Commanders, the Chicago Bears, are after him more. I know he wants to go to a contender, so obviously Lions are a contender. But you have to have 2 to tango, and I just don't see this. And this is not something that Brad Holmes has done yet. That doesn't necessarily mean he's not going to do it, right? Just because he hasn't done something yet doesn't mean he's not. But he hasn't done it to this point, so I'm going to take the under and say it's probably not going to happen. That is my true gut feeling. I don't want to make all these videos and say he's coming when I don't think he's coming. But I would love to have him. Don't get me wrong. Commanders do need a pass rusher. A lot of teams need a pass rusher. I mean, they're everywhere. But if you look at all the teams that are competing, even the Philadelphia Eagles, they could be a situation, a team, look at them, right? The Buffalo Bills. There's other teams as well. Michael McDermott makes a great point right there, and I think it comes down to where Myles Garrett wants to go. Yeah, I think that's a part of it as well. He says contender, so I don't think it would be he's going to nix a trade to the Carolina Panthers, right? He's not going to do that, but it would be to a contender. I would love to have him. I just don't see it happening. Now let's get into Cooper Kupp. No. Why the hell would the Lions trade for a guy who's costing $20 million at a wide receiver position where he would be a number 3 here at best? When you could have Tim Patrick extremely cheaper, probably 1/20th, who is healthy. Cooper Kupp's not healthy. He's past his prime. He could do the same job. I don't see a situation where the Lions are traded for Cooper Kupp. The only way I can see the Lions getting Cooper Kupp is if he's released. But if he is released, there's going to be other teams that are wide receiver, heavy that's going to be getting his services. So I don't see him coming to Detroit Lions. Sean says Tim Patrick is trash. What the hell? What the? Robert Bruce is not watching either. Not sour grapes, my partner. Normally for NFC team, but I can't stand the Eagles fan base. Home through D battery. Hey, and I will be doing the live stream of the Super Bowl on Sunday, so get ready for that live stream for the Super Bowl. We're going to do it. Why? Because we do it every year to end the NFL season. So there is one more play-by-play commentary this year for me. It is Sunday, so get ready for that. Brent DeWitt says, right, it's not a logical fit. Too much money. Taylor Alexis Janela. Yeah, Kupp off year is a better than a Tim Patrick best year. No, I'm not going to say that. You have to be, the best ability is availability. Cooper Kupp is injured all the time. All the time. I am against the idea of making a big trade for an expensive wide receiver that's not going to be on the field. How many times have we had players we look at Marcus Davenport. Yay! Injured, done for the year. There's just players that are going in the wrong direction physically. And as they age, they deteriorate. Cooper Kupp is a deteriorated player. He's been beat up a lot. Why do you think the Rams are trying to get... The Rams were in the playoffs, folks. It's not like they're a 3-win football team in the top of the draft. So if they're getting rid of him, it's not just a financial reason. They see it too, right? He's the end of his career. He's and look, if he gets released and they come here and Kupp wants to come here in a cheap deal, cool. But there's zero chance Lions are going to be trading massive assets for a guy who is absolutely not a number one wide receiver anymore. He's not a number 1A, okay? He's a B. He's a number 2. He's a 3 right now with his career, and with the injuries, it makes it worse. So I don't even know how they're going to trade him away to a team because of his cap. Who is going to pay $20 million for a broken wide receiver? Now, there could be teams that do it, but I don't see the Lions doing that. Let's get into more trade ideas that's been floated around. We talked about Myles Garrett. We've talked about Cooper Kupp, Max Crosby. It is the same situation I'm going to be saying all offseason. I would love Max Crosby. He would have to force a trade out of there, and I don't see that happening. I don't. If it would have happened, it probably would have happened at the NFL trade deadline, you would assume, right? So I don't see that happening. Big trades, I don't see. Now, if you want to talk about movement, we got free agency coming up here very soon, and there is a lot of players that the Lions could look at. Now, we look at some of these free agents, right? And that we're not going to get big name free agents. Maybe, a name doesn't necessarily need to be a big name, maybe one, but it's going to be a lot of depth. And I think they'll go defense heavier in the draft and in free agency for the depth wise because of what we've seen. I love Khalil Mack. I think he would be the guy that the Lions would love to target. He's longer in the tooth, but he's what the Lions are looking for, right? A guy who would be cheaper. You're not giving up draft capital to, who is a veteran, and he can come in here and you don't need Aiden Hutchinson's replica. You don't need that. You need a complementary piece. That is it. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be Aiden Hutchinson, right? He's going to wreak the havoc. But we need somebody opposite of him. Now, look, if we could get a top flight pass rusher, I'm all for it, man. Like, you'll never hear me complain about that, but they just need to be smart because they need to fill out the whole roster too, not just one player. We need to get depth. And we got a super chat. Thank you so much to Larry Cole, $20 super chat. Thank you. It says, miss you, Mike. Larry, I am right here, and you're going to see me on Sunday live streaming the Super Bowl. We're going to get after it. And I'm thinking about, too, switching my lives or maybe adding another live stream when the season's over on a Sunday. Because I know a lot of people love me being live on a Sunday. So maybe I can figure it in sometime or something like that. I'm still working on off-season schedule, how everything's going. This off-season is going to be better than last year's off-season. I had a lot of stuff going on last year's off-season with rebuilding yards and helping out my fiance with her house. So now we're selling the house, so it's a little bit different. So it should be a little bit easier this offseason. So maybe I'll do another live stream on a Sundays. Thank you so much. Yes, doctor. I actually do got a Dr. Pepper right here. I'll take a shot at that. There's zero chance I'm drinking at 10 in the morning. I am not a drinker, folks. You need to understand this. I don't drink that much at all. It is a rarity for me. So that's why I do it on game day. Normally, I don't drink. So you got to understand that I'm not someone that likes alcohol that much. I do if I do drink, vodka is something that I can down. Captain Morgan I can down as well. That stuff that I do here I absolutely hate because I don't like the taste of I'm not a big alcohol fan. Margaritas though and pina coladas, all that stuff is great, but I'm not gonna drink every day that type of stuff. I'd be broke and I'd be a drunk. But that is good stuff. But not doing that every day. Let's see. I would like to see us keep the. I want to see Za'Darius Smith as well. Thank you, Larry Cole. And I'm going to have to do it. Larry. I'm going to have to do it. I've been going back and forth, and I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't drink either for health problems. And I don't know about you guys, but I don't like being hungover. I'm 39 years old. I got a lot of physical ailments already, and I don't want to feel like crap being hungover. So not a drinker. I did that when I was 20, right? 21. I want to keep Za'Darius Smith. And I did on my perfect plan for the Detroit Lions that if we can restructure his contract, because we keep hearing a high probability that the Lions release him, and I say, why? Who in here, what did Za'Darius Smith do to deserve to get released? I thought he did a great job for the Lions when he was here. I want him to be here. I want him to be with Aiden Hutchinson. When you get a pass rusher, you don't release them. He helped this team out last year. Make no mistake about it. He helped this team win last year, and so if you don't want the fiscal with him, it's simple. You restructure a contract, but there's no reason. I just don't understand why people would want to release. We already have edge issues. Why would you want to get rid of one that was productive? I'd love to have Za'Darius Smith still here, and I'd love to pick up another pass rush. Look, when it comes to pass rush, I'm ready to go back. Now, this is an area I've spoke about, back to 2011, Jim Schwartz, the wide nine. one thing I loved about Jim Schwartz is he always had pass rush, right? We got guys coming after, and so we have to have multiple guys come after the quarterback, not just one name. I'd love to have Aiden Hutchinson here. I'd like to have Za'Darius Smith here. If you could get a Myles Garrett, great, but I'd like to get a Khalil Mack here. Joshua Pascal, he's going to be here. Mohamed, he's a developmental guy, and I still like to have maybe a Josh Sweat. Like or draft a guy at the 28th pick, right? At Jack Sayer, right? So we need to have pass rush, and I don't like the idea we're just going to release Za'Darius Smith. Why? It's not like he's costing a lot either. It's not like he's costing an arm and a leg like Cooper Kupp or anything. Actually, I think he's getting paid for what he should be doing. So hopefully he stays. I don't want him to be released. I like the trade, and I like Smith on this football team. He was not only did he produce on the field, but he was a good locker room guy. So, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Let's go ahead and get some QA. We're doing that anyways right now. It just seems to be like. So why not? Michael McDermott says, I prefer smoking. Wait, did this not send? Let me see. Okay. Let me get my thing fixed here. That's what it is. We got to do the big question. Big comment. There we go. Keep everyone and add Garrett. Trade the damn picks. Look, Derek, I would love to have Myles Garrett. I think everybody in here would love to have Myles Garrett. It takes two to tango, though. And then you got to look at the draft picks, too, right? If they're going to trade Myles Garrett, say Cleveland decides they're going to, and right now they haven't decided. Are they going to take Lions, the 28th draft pick, their first-round draft pick, or, I don't know, Chicago Bears first-round draft pick? Or, something like that, right? So you got to think about, too, so the Lions would have to give up a lot more than the average team because we're sitting at the 28th pick. And if Cleveland decides to trade Myles Garrett, it's going to be for draft picks. Maybe they will take a Hendon Hooker or something like that, but, Oh, we got another super chat that popped up here from Thomas Leach. Thank you. Thomas Leach with a $10 super chat says, thank you for your great work, Big Mike. I have really enjoyed your channel the last few years. Thomas Leach, well, thank you so much for that super chat, and hopefully you continue to enjoy it. We will be live on Sunday for the Super Bowl, doing the Super Bowl live stream, the watch party here. So you get to keep on. So thank you so much. Would Trey Hendrickson be a scheme fit? 110%. But why would the Bengals trade him? Here's the thing. I'm going to ask you guys a question in the comments. Do you guys want to trade Aiden Hutchinson? Probably not. Do you think the Bengals want to trade Trey Hendrickson? Probably not. Their offense was historic. Their defense was bad. They probably want to put some pieces on that defense to help out and take that team to a Super Bowl. I see no way he gets traded. Zero way. And a lot of the big free agents, free agents, like the big ones, they'll get re-signed or they'll get the cap put on them. So they get the franchise tag. So I don't see Trey Hendrickson being traded to Lions. It's the same thing. Would you trade a team's like, I would love to have Aiden Hutchinson. Okay, but the Lions would have to be willing to trade, and they're not going to do that. It's just like I don't see Trey Hendrickson being traded. Why would they do that? You just got you know how hard it is to find a premier pass rusher in the NFL? It's freaking ridiculous. It's hard. So teams don't like to do that. That's why you see pass rushers on teams for many, many years. Like when you see a pass rusher go from team to team, maybe it's a trade like a Khalil Mack did years ago from the Raiders to the Bears, right? But, I mean, it's It's hard, and teams like to keep their pass rushers. Brad Holmes spoke to the media like no one wanted to trade their pass rushers. If they didn't do it at the trade deadline, why would they want to do it now? The only one I could possibly think of is Myles Garrett because he demanded a trade, right? And it doesn't necessarily mean he even gets traded, but you don't see other people demanding trades. Like, I just don't see it happening. And I'm trying to be realistic. I really don't want to burst a bubble. Look, if they trade for Myles Garrett or something like that, I'd be ecstatic. I just don't see it happening, man. I just don't. If there's a stronger word than no, I know, exactly. But that's how you got to think about the Bengals fans, think about Trey Hendrickson like that, right? They love their player. They love their guy. Max Crosby is loved by the Raiders fan base, right? Myles Garrett demanded a trade. Maybe, he demanded a trade. It's a little bit different there, but teams are just willing giving up their best players. It's like, hey, I'd love to have, Patrick Mahomes on this team. Let's go ahead and trade for him. It's not going to happen. Like, it's realistic. But we'll see, right? If you got questions, throw it in the comments section right there. We got 26 likes. Let's get to 30 likes. The more likes we get, the more chance that Chat Sports gets off my butt. Just like Brad Holmes trying to get Myles Garrett at the trade deadline, the Browns weren't biting. Yes, I think that's... And again, he didn't demand it. Maybe he should have demanded a trade before the trade deadline. I know Myles Garrett, that's probably the mistake that he made. He should have did it before the trade deadline. Maybe he would have gotten traded to Detroit, but he waited till this offseason. And he may get traded, right? Myles Garrett potentially really could because he has to be traded. You'd think it'd be an NFC team, right? Buffalo would have to put up a lot out there. But there's other teams too, man, that's got the ability to do it. Eric, what's up, Mike? Love the content. I believe Brad Holmes will call an offer, but probably get outbid. Yes, Eric, I guarantee you. Remember, Brad Holmes already called the Cleveland Browns last year for the trade deadline, right? And I'm sure he called again. He already knows. Brad Holmes did that press conference. He said he couldn't get it. So, guys, I guarantee you he's trying and has tried. Brad Holmes is not just some guy that's not trying to do anything. It takes two to tango, and that's the problem. And you're going to get outbid by other teams. Brad ain't dumb. It's time to push the Super Bowl window open. Picks. Don't worry about the money cap. It's all fake. Look, I don't mind the idea. I keep saying this, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. The Garrett trade will take time. Cleveland literally has cut starters their roster. Trade him. Yeah, I know. The dead money cap, they're in a tough spot. Yep, Michael is 100% correct here. And that's the thing, right? And he said it right. Cleveland literally is in cap hell. And if they were to trade to Myles Garrett, after they got to cut their players to get out of this cap hell, they're going to take a cap hit from trading Myles Garrett. So they got a lot of things they got to worry about for us to even consider getting to that point. And look, free agency starts, in about a month? So we'll know closer to free agency. Hell, maybe even close to the draft. This could be a situation where Myles Garrett thing, unrelated to the Lions, could go all the way to the start of next year's season. Yeah, it is. It is, Robert DeBruce. It is bad driving out there right now. Be safe, you guys. I got to take my daughter to the doctor's appointment because she's not feeling good here in a little bit. So safe driving. Hey, Mike, maybe do a collab with another Chat Sports guy. That could be your card. Green Bay guy or something. I don't know if Chat Sports even has a Green Bay guy now. Maybe they do. I could do a collab. Here's the thing, though. I like doing collabs, but it takes... my hours is different than a lot of the guys. They live in Texas, so it'd have to be at a different time. But, yeah, we can get some collabs probably done this offseason. Do you think we'll bring back Zeitler and Skipper? Yes, and yes. Kevin Zeitler's wife went on, I think it was Instagram, social media, said that her husband will be turning for a 14th season. Brad Holmes wants to bring it back. I do think Kevin Zeitler will be back. Dan Skipper, yeah. Skip. It's not going to cost anything to bring Skipper back. It's going to cost basically, cheap. So, yeah, why not? The salary cap is real. Look at the Saints. Yeah, the Saints has been a disaster franchise via cap for probably 2 decades now. I remember this has been going on for a long time. But you got to be fiscally responsible. Okay, guys, we have been fiscally responsible. Our team's been good for the last couple years. What Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell's doing is working. Yes, it may not please us fully. He needs to get better, I think, in free agency. I do believe that. He needs to get better at not getting injured players. But it is working. The Lions are a good football team. Everybody kid's sick. I know, man. I don't know what's going on. Everyone's sick. 'Tis the season, right? It's in February. It's February 6th, so this is February, March. And then we're going to have a lot of pollen in the air after that, so yeesh. Yeesh. Then we got the draft coming up. If the draft is where you can get, say, and everyone said we should trade for Myles Garrett, and I agree, right? Like, that would be epic. But you do have pass rushers in the draft that you can get. There's a lot of good pass rushers. If Jackson or Mike Green, Marshall's there, who you taking the first? If Mike Green's there, I'd take him, but I just don't think that the Lions would take him because he won't be there. There's no way you would have to trade up to get Mike Green for the Lions to get him. You're going to have to trade up. I don't see that happening, him falling to 28. If the Lions want to get him, they would have to trade up, in which – look, if they believe he's the guy, I have zero problem. I have no problem trading up or down in the draft. As long as the trade is a good trade, I'm all for it. Because I look at these draft picks, and it's like, oh, we used a draft pick on Za'Darius Smith. Everybody freaked out. Oh, no. And now, look, we got 7 draft picks, right? So it's like we can make up the draft capital. So I don't mind trading up or down at all in the draft. I'm with you right there, though. Like I said, keep doubling up on DTs and pass rush. Man, I'm with you, dude. I have no problem doubling up because of the injuries. And it has been an absolute disaster for injuries. So, yeah, if we get some defensive players in this draft, healthy defensive players, that would be massive. That would be massive. But, again, we still need to get some offensive players, guys, right? We don't have to go all 7 picks defense. You know, right? We get offensive line, we get a wide receiver. But make no mistake about it, that defense it's just been hit with so many injuries. It needs to get fixed. Eric says he could be the next Trayvon Walker. I think Trayvon Walker's bigger. He's going to have to put up a little bit more size, right? Trayvon Walker is what? He's a big pass rusher. Green's a little bit smaller in stature and size, about 20 pounds less. But could he be? Yeah, if he's just a college kid, he could put on more weight. But he is a baller, man, and I just don't see him being there at all. Maybe if the Lions traded up. We did it. We've done a million trades in the draft, and I expect us probably to do more. That's what we do. Make the trade. We have already wasted 2 years of our window. This is something I've talked about on the Huge Show, and I got a question for you on this, guys. Is our window nearly over? Do we have a window? Does the Ravens have a window? Does the Steelers franchise have a window? I don't really see it. And the reason I say this is because we draft so well, so each year, like, we're going to still get new talent in there. So I think this window is going to be good as long as we have Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and our scouting department continue. Now, look, if we start to suck drafting at some point, yeah, but if they continue to draft the way they've been, I don't think that there is really a window necessarily because you're going to be good. But you look at the franchises, like I said, it doesn't necessarily mean they're winning the Super Bowl every year, right? But but I'm talking about a perennial good franchise. They're constantly winning, where you have a chance. Look, we went 15-2 this year, and we lost in the playoffs. So just because you started, you have a great record doesn't necessarily. You got to get to the dance, and you get these teams that are constantly going to the dance, and that's what the Lions need to be. So I think this window is open for a while, but I'm with you. Like, I don't mind at all making trade and getting a Myles Garrett because we are so close. I just don't know if that's what they're going to do. Yeah, 2-3 year in the window every quarterback does. Who will be the quarterback in 3 years, Mike? I don't know who will be the quarterback. I'm not Nostradamus, but I do trust the ability of this regime to find talent, whether it be a quarterback or a kicker. Like, I expect them to find talent. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get a quarterback that's better than Jared Goff or anything, but I do like the talent that we have in there. And again, are we going to be 15 wins every year? No, it's not going to be like that. Are we going to win the division every single year? Probably not, no. But you got to consistently have talented. Yeah, we'll be getting paid. Yes, in 3 years, they will be getting paid. But in 3 years, you're going to have more rookies coming in and supplanting the other rookies, right? Like in supplanting veteran players that were rookies. It's just a turnstile. I'm not being there. That's true. Our window was huge last year, and it may have gotten smaller, but it's still a big window. We're still it doesn't like I'm going to say this. I don't even care about seeding in the playoffs. Doesn't matter if we get the number 1 seed or the 7th seed next year. We lost with the number 1 seed in the first game this year. So I just want to get to the Super Bowl by any means necessary. Like, if it's the 7th seed and we go all the way up, great. Do I want to get the number 1 seed? I love it, but it didn't work out for as well as this last time. You'll start losing players when you did fold. Yes, you do lose players, just like the Rams lose players, and yet the Rams are told they're going to suck every year, and they're in the playoffs every year, right? They went and drafted. They're like, oh, no, we lost this player and that player, and yet they just draft him back, right? Jared Verse comes in there for the Rams. So that's what this team's got to do. Yes, we're going to lose players. It is going to happen, but we have to redraft players, their talent or equivalent, to stay good. Shift God, what is up? What about the young pass rusher from New York? Put the name in there. Cooper Kupp. It's just not coming to mind right now. Good thing to have a good day. Yeah, let's see. Do we trade? No. Why would we trade for Cooper Kupp? He's about $20 million a year. He's not better than St. Brown. He's not better than Jamison Williams. We're going to pay a guy $20 million to be a number 3. That would be a terrible trade. If you're going to do a trade for any player, you might as well do it for defensive pass rusher, right? Like, that's actually going to be playing on the field a lot. We got Tim Patrick. He's a free agent. We're going to be extremely cheap. Get in there and put Tim Patrick back in there. I have no problem with that. And then draft a wide receiver, and then you have your backup. Yeah, I don't see a team trade. Now, look, if the Rams released him, that's a different story because you work out a contract, right? But if he gets released, there's other teams out there that's going to outbid Detroit because the Detroit will have a certain probably level on him, and other teams that are more wide receiver needy teams, there's going to be a lot more because Detroit's not a wide receiver needy team. They'll probably pitch more money to him. Makes sense. Send Kupp to Ben Johnson. They got a lot of wide receivers over there in Chicago. I don't see that happening. They got Roma. Dude, like, they got all sorts of they actually got talent over there at the wide receiver position. We'll just see if their offensive line for Chicago, that's what they're terrible. If they don't address the offensive line, it doesn't matter what they have at wide receiver. Doesn't matter what you have if your offensive line sucks. Chicago will get Kupp. Green Bay will get Myles. That would be our luck, wouldn't it be? Kupp, I don't care if he went to Chicago. But the Myles Garrett thing, man, I don't want him in the NFC North unless it's Detroit. Yeah, anybody get, yeah. A Kupp is not a big name to me, that big of a name. I'm not really, like, when I think of Cooper Kupp now, it's like, yeah, he's all right player now. He's not what he used to be. He's all right player, so it's not really that big of a name to me anymore. Detroit Lions Super Bowl, Jared Goff is him. Hey, did you guys see the video of the little boy coming out of anesthesia? And he goes, Jared Goff, Jared Goff, tock, tick, Jared Goff, Jared Goff, Jared Goff, Jared Goff. Hey, guys, go blue, baby. Did you guys see that little video? If Lions players are watching this, Jameson Williams, whoever it is, please send that video to Jared Goff. It's the cutest thing in the world. And last time I seen it, 17,000 views. Someone sent it to him. I want love for this kid to get recognized, maybe get a phone call for Jared. That was one of the coolest things I've seen. So that's just, if you're watching this, any Lions guys out there, just send it to Goff. Let him see it if he hasn't. It was the cutest thing. The kid had to be like 11 years old. Something like that. It was cool. Coming out of anesthesia. You know how it is, people coming out of anesthesia, they're all like, hey, I've done it before. I've come out of anesthesia millions of times. It was in a different world. Let's see. Was acquired to get us to stability. Now we need elite quarterback. Well, he got us to stability, and we extended him. So he is our quarterback for the next 5 years. Jared Goff is going to be the next quarterback. And he can be. There's nothing wrong with Jared Goff is good for what we got, play like run football, play action. But, yeah, could they in a couple years maybe draft a successor? Yeah. But I don't see that happening right now. Don't see that. Yeah, that was a great video. That was great. What is it, damn hell? What's good, Mike? Hey, what would you give up for Myles Garrett? What would I give up? I'd give up the 28th pick. I'd give up the 3rd round pick this year, and I'd give up Hendon Hooker for Myles Garrett. That's what I'd do. What do you guys think of that trade? If they were to ask me, I'd give them Hendon Hooker, the 1st round pick, and a 3rd round pick to get Myles Garrett. And if that doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and I don't do the deal, right? But that's what I would do. Is that going to happen? No. That's not going to happen. They would probably want more draft picks because the Lions pick at the 28th pick, right? And I'm not going to give up 2 first-round picks. I just think that's way too much because, look, you give up 2 first-round picks, all you need, it would just – I could see a situation that could really hurt us for the long haul. So I do one. Do you think we trade Hooker? I don't know. I have zero idea. Remember, Aaron Glenn is now in the Jets. Maybe they want to think about a quarterback there. That could be a situation, right, for the Jets because they got Aaron Rodgers. Maybe the Raiders. I don't think so, but you never know. If we miss out on Garrett, could you assist going after Trey Hendrickson in some interesting comments of future yesterday in Cincinnati? No, I don't see it happening. I don't. We tried before with the trade deadline. It didn't work last year. We got Za'Darius Smith. I guarantee you they tried to get the big names. I'm sure they tried to get Trey Hendrickson, Max Crosby, and Myles Garrett. Guarantee you. I fully believe that's what Brad Holmes tried to do. And I fully believe it didn't happen because it was way out of the realm of possibility. That's why. I don't think Hooker is really any trade value. Wasn't even good enough to be a backup for Goff. Maybe a 6 at this point. He's also turned 28, right? It would be a chip in for a quarterback, but you got to understand it's not the fact, yeah, it doesn't really matter his age. We got to understand his cost, too, is way cheaper at quarterback. So he's an extremely cheap quarterback, and in the NFL, it's really difficult to get a cheap quarterback. So that's going to be a part of it. So that brings the value up. Now, quarterbacks are valued higher. And get one on a cheap deal, that's even better. I'm not saying he's going to get traded at all. I don't know. It was weird that they brought in Teddy Bridgewater at the end, but it was more insurance, I think, for the playoffs. But you never know, right? Yeah, Benedict Johnson. Yeah. I'm still a little salty on that. You know what? Oh, man. Do you think that we going... See, I'd love to pick up Will Howard in the draft. What do you think? I don't think getting a quarterback in this year's draft. I don't see it happening. Do you think that we draft offensive linemen to replace Glasgow? Well, we already drafted a lineman in last year's draft that I think can replace Graham. Glasgow played really well the left side when Graham was injured. Could they draft another lineman? Yeah, I mean, linemen are valuable, man, and you want to keep this team great. You keep that offensive line great. So could I see them drafting a lineman? Yes, 110%. I don't know what round, but any round I could see a situation. They're valuable. They're valuable. Like pass rush. Spirit of Detroit podcast. Make sure you subscribe to Spirit of Detroit podcast. He is doing a lot of work behind the scenes. I'm seeing it on our Facebook group. Go ahead and subscribe. Watch his videos. Take a lot of time to do it. That's what it's all about. Yeah, salty. I am salty about that. When is Hutch's contract up? Do they really pay him more than another team? I think it's the 5th-year option is after this year, so he's going to get it. So next year, it's not going to matter. Line's going to extend him at some point, maybe the end of this year. I can see a situation. Let's see. When is JMO's contract up? The same time. They got drafted the same draft. So same time. And this is a pivotal year for Jameson Williams. Aiden Hutchinson's going to get extended, right? But he needs to come out there, and it's not his ability. He needs to be just a little bit more mature. I want Jameson Williams to be here for the long haul. He's a great piece. He's got to show a lot this year, and I think he will. But he's got to mature up. Robert says, I don't see him surviving in Chicago. His talent, upper management, ownership is horrible. Yeah, we got to see what they do with the offensive. If they don't fix their offensive line, it doesn't matter. Like, you'll never survive if your quarterback's getting hit every play. Goff made Sam Darnold look really bad in the Pro Bowl. Goff is a great quarterback, guys. He's got a great accuracy, right? How many draft picks can Holmes keep signing? Next up, Kirby, Aiden, JMO. Any casualties? Yep, Kirby will get signed. Aiden will get signed after this year, potentially JMO. So how it goes is in years, guys. So, like last year, we signed Jared Goff to an extension, Taylor Decker, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. So those contracts is going to end, a year different from what's coming up this year. So how they're stacking it, you're dealing with specific ones each year. So could there be cap casualties? No, I don't really see so. Not anytime soon. No, they're still really good in cap. Now, 2-3 years down the road, I don't think so. You look how Brad Holmes does these contracts, though. We don't have that much dead cap and just release players with contracts. We do a lot of low-end contracts. Players to whom we don't draft. Like, you look at Khalif Raymond. You look at all these players. It's like 1-2 year deal, so it's not necessarily cap casualty. It's you just don't bring them back. Now, that could be the situation this offseason, right? Maybe we don't bring back Carlton Davis or Derek Barnes, but it's not necessarily cap casualty. They're free agents. So we have been really smart fiscally. I'm going to take one more question, and then I got to get ready to take my kid to the doctors. If we don't bring Carlton back, could you see us going after a guy like DJ Reed or J.R. Travis Ward or maybe even Rasul Douglas? This is the biggest question here because we drafted Ennis Rakestraw. and I don't know what they think about him. Is he really able to take over one of those sides? I could see a situation they bring in a corner. I don't know who if we lose Carlton Davis. We just got to know what they think of Ennis and what are they going to do in the draft. Hopefully we bring Carlton Davis back and all this stuff is over. But, yeah, there's definitely some concerns there because we don't really know at this point. Folks, I got to get ready to take my daughter to the doctor, so I appreciate everybody hanging out. I got to get her ready to find out